Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast. My name is David.
And my name is James, and here we talk about all things Star Wars. But before we get started, we have some amazing people to thank. So take it away, David.
I wasn't prepared.
Oh, sorry.
I'm
Just
just
kidding.
kidding. Thank you to all of our awesome Patreon supporters out there. Our top tier Patreon supporters are Lee McCallan, Kevin Leininger, Deb McCaffrey, Zach Netzel, Maya Morris, Adam Haber, Front Row King, Cam from Indiana, Mariana Tia Arnold, and Resh Jedi 27, and Alex Blundell. Thank you so much for the awesome love and support out there. And everyone in the chat as well. Looks like we got our first comment, and it's from Bender.
Oops.
Hi,
Bender's
Bender.
in the house.
Watch us on YouTube. Hit the like button, Bender.
Yeah, please hit the like button, share, subscribe. You know, all the usual. We want to get all that out of the way now instead of like halfway through the episode, which I hate when people do that. Like, oh, before we go on, it's like just keep talking. Just shut up and keep talking. But before we get started, there you go. See, also keep going.
Yes, if you want to buy a lightsaber or any accessories, check out legionsabers.com and use the code STUFF at checkout. You get 15% off. And Legion Sabers is actually doing some very interesting things. If you visit their Instagram, you can find out about those interesting things. Because I'm not quite sure what they are, but they are very interesting. The owner is actually going to fly out to San Antonio and maybe Dallas, where we're going to meet up. And he's going to, I think, let us in on some really exciting new plans for the
Nice.
future. So, yeah, future's looking bright for those guys. And, of
Nice.
course, we work with them, so pick up a lightsaber there.
Mm-hmm.
So, James, what were you referring to?
Oh, nothing. Just Star Wars in general. Oh, hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah, we
Hi.
got to say hi to Matt. He left us a really, really nice comment on Facebook the other day. I love reading those comments because I'm the same way. He essentially said that, I mean, listening to our podcast kind of gets him through the day, and I think a lot of us can really relate to that, because when I started getting the podcasting, I actually got really sick, and that really kind of helped me get through my sickness. And yeah, I mean, I love reading that stuff, and a lot of people came up to us at Celebration, especially in 20. I think it was the Anaheim Celebration, and they were telling us their stories and how they drive to work or bicycle to work or ride the train, and it was awesome. But yeah, we met Matt in Japan.
Yes.
Which is a crazy sentence. We got to hang out with him for a little bit. It was kind of cool on the show floor, and we talked about Star Wars, of course. Yeah, I mean, it was really cool to meet him. Hopefully, we see him again in LA or at another con, possibly. But yeah, he lives very close to Japan as opposed to our living arrangements. Yeah. So, and I think you can tell by by the flag that he has there.
You know what's interesting? I've run into like two different people I know who are in Japan right now. Two separate people I know are in Japan right now. And then somebody else I know is about to leave. And then somebody I talked to today at work is also going to Japan. So Japan's a great place to visit this year, apparently. So Bender asked on YouTube, how was Japan? It was amazing. Go back and listen to some of our other episodes. We talk about. Of course, we're not going to talk about it tonight, but Japan was amazing. It was so much fun. I want to go back. Why? What are you laughing at?
So funny enough, someone asked me yesterday, "How was Japan?"
That's crazy.
And I was like, "Oh, me and James. I mean, it was cool." And they were like, "James went? I didn't know he went." I'm like, "Yes, James and I were there. We did multiple. I think we did 2 podcasts from Japan." And the third night, we were just like totally
drained. It was. And then plus, we were trying to pack up our little hotel room we had, the smallest hotel
rabbit
room.
hutch.
Yeah, it was really funny.
I'll never forget that. Somebody called those hotel rooms a rabbit hutch on Facebook. That
makes sense. Oh,
and I'm like, what is a rabbit hutch?
A buddy of mine was thinking about like, oh, hey, oh, wait. Yeah, I was going to say something. All right. So Mariana on YouTube Just say, wow, David, your office is really coming together.
It's not.
He told me before, don't worry about the background. Just keep going. All right.
It's not coming together at all. I mean, I have so much conflict here because I don't know. Should I get into? I mean, it is Star Wars related. So I thought I had way more Funko Pops than that. I thought I was gonna line the entire like length of my room, and my wife's like, "That's it," and I'm like, "What do you mean that's it? There's no way that's it. I have more of these things like floating around my house. Like, I'm sure of it because when we did SpaceCon, we gave away a Rey, a Qui-Gon, a Luke, and I kept one of each. I bought multiples and I kept one of each. And I don't know where they're at. I don't know. They're somewhere. So I got to put more shelves up, or I got to totally rip them down and do something else.
It looks good though. You can just put something on the left and right of them, or put some posters on the side.
Well, see, the idea was to put that big SDCC poster of Bo-Katan, and the one behind it has Ivana Sakno and Baylan Skull and others on it. But yeah, I'm just not quite sure, and it's hard to decide. So yeah, I have issues with that. I don't know what it is, but eventually it'll come together. And all the people listening to us on audio are like, "What is he talking about?"
What is he talking? Yeah, go on YouTube if you're listening to us on audio, so you can see his background.
Go to YouTube and subscribe.
It looks a little messy, but it still looks pretty good. Looks better than what I have going on behind me. Countdown City Geeks in the house on Facebook. Listen to us on Facebook. Did someone say San Diego Comic-Con?
Yeah, I think Ted's watching right now.
Hey, so when you come visit me in Hollywood, I have a Funko store down on Hollywood Boulevard. It's massive, has so many Funkos inside.
I mean,
I'm never going
to get Funko Pops. I'm not trying to buy them, but I just naturally accumulate them.
See, that's the
problem. Like I gotta put them somewhere. So before, when I had the cubes behind me, they were behind the thing I was showing. They were all lined up against the wall. Yeah, that's where I was putting them. And now I got to put them in a different spot.
You're insane. You know, anybody who collects Funkos, I'm sorry, because it was something you started that you couldn't stop. And that's why I haven't started with my Funko collection, because I know I'm not going to be able to stop once I start. So,
yeah. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Funko Pops. I'll give a little spiel, a little rant. So I was born in the 1900s, in the 80s. So I was aware of bobbleheads. That was a thing in baseball in particular. So people would collect those, buy those, you'd see those, and it's like, okay. And Funko Pops are basically this generation's bobbleheads, and their heads do bobble. But they're called Funko Pop, and they just bought licenses for all the major IP out there, and it's a billion-dollar industry. And it's like
massive.
It's such a simple idea and notion, simple designs. It's like, man, another one of those ideas. Like, man, I should have thought of that and just pushed it and just been behind it.
I'm surprised we haven't gotten a Funko Pop movie already. With everything that's been going on, all these movies, Funko Pops.
Yeah.
So, Mariana says they're just as bad as collecting pins. Yes, pin collecting at Disney is bad. I did go pretty hardcore with pins.
I still have my pins here. I haven't even put them up yet.
All your Akbar ones from Japan. But no, back to Bender. What we were saying about Japan. It was amazing. It was great. We had a great time. I keep thinking about it, and I'm like, my gosh, we were there 2 months ago. Yeah, this time 2 months ago we were there, and it's weird to think that we did it, we planned it, we did it, we came back. And it was.
I don't know exactly what you're saying. We're on the other side of going to Japan, and that is weird to me.
All that prep, all the discussions, all the conversations, all the research, and it's done. We did it. We're back in America, talking about Star Wars now, and talking about that trip. But yeah, it's really interesting. I've run into like 4 or 5 people in the last week who are going or are in Japan right now. So. It's really weird. I guess that's the place to be in 2026. What else? Oh, I was going to say Jaws celebrated its 50th anniversary yesterday. And I know you're like, what's Jaws have to do with Star Wars? Not a lot. It really doesn't. But it's a monumental film that that pretty much created the modern or blockbuster movies that we know to this day. And fun fact, George Lucas, when he was looking for a composer, Spielberg was the one who said, get John Williams to do your music because he did Jaws. And that's how George Lucas was able to meet John Williams, was because of
I
that.
saw like a very rare piece of footage I've never seen before. Steven Spielberg, I think when he was younger, was on like a panel or something. It looked like he was sitting at a table, and they asked him about the theme. And of course, by that time, it's one of the most iconic, even back then. And he said the first time I heard it, he was like, "This is not good. I was looking for something complex." I guess you know the story already, James. So he was like, "Yeah, I went to you for something with overtures and more like strings, and you gave me 2 notes." It's like, what is this? This is not what I'm paying you for. And of course, yeah, it's the most like it's probably maybe not the most iconic, but
top
might
5.
be. Yeah, top 5 most recognizable for sure.
Yeah. Behind, of course, Star Wars, which I think is number 1. I'm not even kidding. I think it's American Film Institute called Star Wars one of the greatest score of all time. It's interesting to watch the 70s, you know, and I know we're getting back to Star Wars, I promise. So the 70s was an era in time when these filmmakers were changing the way movies were made. I mean, movies had a different look in the 60s and the 50s. And then when you get to the 70s, you have Coppola, who comes out with, you know, The Godfather. You have Easy Rider. Then you have Scorsese doing his thing with Taxi Driver and Mean Streets. And then Jaws comes out. And Jaws is like, oh my gosh, nobody had ever made a movie like Jaws in the history of cinema. No one had ever gone in the ocean and filmed a mechanical shark or mechanical anything in the middle of the ocean. Everything was done on backlots. But they were pushing the boundaries of how you can make movies, which then made the way for George Lucas with American Graffiti, THX 1138, and then Star Wars, to that era, that I don't know what to call it, just that Renaissance era in the 70s of these movies, these young filmmakers. And it's incredible. It's incredible to see all those movies and how they shaped how cinema is today. And yeah, so shout out to Jaws 50th anniversary. Great movie to this day. The modern blockbuster. It was the biggest movie of all time until Star Wars came out in 1977. So it held the title for about 2 years until Star Wars.
Yeah, the original blockbuster. That's where the term was coined.
So before we hold on, we got one more comment here on Facebook. I bought 3 Funkos, Darth Revan, Einstein, and Da Vinci. Was able to stop after that. That's good. That's always know when to quit when it comes to Funkos, because it could be really bad. All right, on to news. David, take it away.
So there is a quasi rumor out there. You can see the title of the podcast. I'm in agreement about 95%. I mean, it's totally believable with the track record that Lucasfilm has had. Apparently, the Rey film is on hold, and it's very disappointing. But if you've kept up with the news, with release dates of films, with stuff being pushed back, like Doomsday being pushed back into the slot where there should have been a Star Wars film, right? In 2026. And then, of course, you're going to have The Mandalorian Grogu drop next year in May. Not having Doomsday in May, I think, totally benefits Star Wars, because they already kind of made that error with Solo, with Infinity War, and Deadpool coming out, which is great news. Odd, though, that they're going back to May, because I think we all kind of got used to a Christmas Star Wars. But what are your thoughts about it, James? I mean, we keep on talking about these movies getting put on hold, or the rumors that they're being put on hold. I got to talk to Daisy Ridley this year, and I asked her the question, and she's like, I can't talk about that. Of course she's going to say that, but I mean, I had to throw that in there. But I mean, what is, if this is true, I mean,
what's going on?
Yeah, what do you think is happening now? What's different now?
I, uh, I'm wondering if the reception of Andor is making Lucasfilm pivot a little bit with some of their projects. If they are looking at some of these projects going, oh, maybe we can shift the narrative and the story of this Ray film, if you may, to be a little more in line with how Andor was, because of, I mean, Andor is getting pushed for Emmys, Andor is getting pushed for Golden Globes. Andor is, we're going to talk about it later, but it is literally just taking the world by storm right now, almost like Mando and Grogu did, or Mandalorian. It's really strange, and it's also just like, what is going on at Lucasfilm? Like, how much are they working on right now? And why can't they just have all these productions going the way Marvel was doing there in their heyday, during that great 10-year run that Marvel had, where Kevin Feige was able to have all these multiple movies going at the same time? For some odd reason, Star Wars can't get there, and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't really make any sense why Star Wars can't get to that level of just having a movie in production like all the time.
Do you think it could be the fact that maybe, I know we keep talking about this and it's been like the rumor for years now, but if Kathleen Kennedy is moving on, I mean, this was pretty much her like greenlit project, it feels like. And it feels like she handpicked the director, Charmaine Obaid-Chinoy, for this Ray film. Do you think that's the reasoning? Because we had the rumor that Carrie Beck and Dave Filoni are going to take over, and they've never done a head of studio job before. I mean, you hear all these rumors about her stepping away, but she keeps on saying that no, she's not leaving. She's still going to keep working, but she doesn't ever address if she's actually going to leave the presidency.
Well, I mean, Kevin Feige, you know what I mean? Like, I don't believe anybody would say they're thinking about leaving.
So there's rumor now about Kevin Feige leaving after Secret Wars.
Whoa.
So if worlds converge here, we can maybe get Kevin Feige.
Nah, man. If Kevin Feige's leaving Marvel, I think he's leaving for good. I think he's gonna go produce his movies. He's gonna leave Disney, and he's just gonna go live his life, because, man, he had a hell of a run. I mean, what was that? We're coming up almost 20 years. You know what I mean? With Iron Man coming out in 2008. So,
James, let me ask you this:
what you got?
Do you know who Theo Epstein is?
No.
He is the person that was basically the president, like Kathleen Kennedy. He was able to somehow, I mean, money, but the Red Sox were cursed. He got them their first World Series for over 100 years. Then he went over to the Chicago Cubs, who had also not won in like a century, and they won a World Series. Could you imagine if Feige takes Marvel to the heights it became, and then he resurrects Star Wars, like so to speak?
Yeah.
We all know he's a massive Star Wars fan. He was the guy that bought the last of the Jabba sail barges for the HasLab to get that thing funded and to get those sail barges created. That I stupidly didn't buy one, but because they're like $2,000 now. I think back then they're $500 to buy, I believe, and now probably at this point they're $3,000. I don't know, but he's a massive Star Wars fan, and he's unfortunately he's had a lot of issues with other people. Like, he's fine, like his instincts and what he did with Marvel worked perfectly, but we all know that other people were kind of his peers that probably shouldn't have been there, and didn't have the same kind of passion and foresight, which I think Star Wars can greatly benefit from. He's my number one pick because he ran Marvel. If he leaves Marvel, run Lucasfilm.
But man, like that's just a whole other commitment he has to make now. You know what I mean? Like that's just
Well, if he doesn't have Marvel on his plate, I mean, he'd be
but
free.
I mean, he might be at a point in his career. I mean, I don't know the guy. You know what I mean? But he might be at a point in his career where he's like, I just want to relax. I just want to be able to live my life now that I have done all of this. I helped get this thing going. I ran this whole thing, and I don't know. Not gonna lie though, it would be pretty cool to see him there in the head role there, but I don't know. I think he just wants to probably leave after Marvel, but
yeah, he's a big original trilogy fan.
Yeah.
Big.
Which is I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because I think if you're gonna be in Star Wars, you need to appreciate the whole story. I think that's where some things got a little messy there with The Force Awakens and everything like that, you know, with J.J. Abrams and
well, we'll address that in a later story.
oh,
James,
okay.
but
That's a tale for a story for another time.
for 30 minutes from now. But
okay, cool.
Yeah, we're not gonna Maz you, which needs to trend, by the way. But yeah, I mean, Feige's there, man. If it all goes down, but I mean, it's still operated by Disney. That's the only kind of issue that I would see.
Man, did you see how much money Lilo and Stitch made at the box office?
No, I didn't, but I can just imagine. But I was gonna say, Kevin Feige maybe did my most favorite podcast of all time, and this was like 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. He went on when Nerdist had a podcast. He sat there with Chris Hardwick, Matt Myra, and Jonah, and they were at the building prior to the current building they have. And I believe, maybe I'm getting my stories entangled, but it's a very inconspicuous building. It doesn't have Marvel on the front of it, so
it was a Mercedes dealership. Wasn't that their first? It was like above the.
I was going to say typewriter factory.
No, it was.
Or is that Bad Robot?
I think that's Bad Robot. I'm pretty sure Marvel's first office was above a Mercedes dealership in Burbank.
So if you watch the new Light and Magic, they show you the old building, and that building looks like nothing that you would associate Star Wars to, which is the thing you got to do. But it's my favorite podcast. I've listened to it so many times, and he talks about the way he talks about creating these movies. I mean, it gets you fired up, you know, because it's someone that kind of understands what needs to happen. And one of the interesting things that I'll never forget, that he said he was on a flight coming back and he was watching a movie, the in-flight movie. He noticed there was a scene that just didn't work. It was so maybe it's supposed to be comedic. He didn't laugh. He thought it was odd, out of place. And he said at Marvel, when we watch the dailies or the edit and we kind of go through the film, if it doesn't work, we just cut it out. If there's any weirdness, we just cut it out. You know, just throw it away. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Get rid of it. There's no need to have it in the movie. And it's like, is that the secret to all those Marvel movies that were great? Like the first Iron Man. I mean, it's almost like a perfect film, you know?
It's pretty great. It's a good pace. Never mind. I'm not going to go into Marvel, but anyways,
but they did the thing that we don't want Star Wars to do, is not have a plan. I guess they had a loose plan, but they didn't have a script, man.
That's right. Yeah,
which is freaky.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges said he'd get on set. His call time would be like 8:00, and he goes, "We won't start filming until 1 because Robert Downey Jr. and Favreau are in their trailer writing what they're going to shoot that day." He goes, "So we're just sitting there playing cards with the crew, just all like, what are we doing here?"
That is insane. And the whole studio depended on it, on the success of Iron Man.
Yeah, once Iron Man became that.
If Iron Man didn't succeed, the bank would have owned Marvel.
Which is insane to think that it was like that close. And the story goes, after the success of Iron Man, they all went down to near Joshua Tree and oh my gosh, what is that? There's a city down there. If Mariana's on here, she can tell me, probably because she lives here in California. I don't know what the city is down there. Anyways, it was Feige and a few other people, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, Iron Man's the biggest movie. It's gonna be the biggest movie of the year." They're like, "Okay, what's next?" And then he started writing on the board, Captain America. Okay, and he looked, "You're gonna produce that one." Okay, Thor's next. You're gonna produce Thor, and Hulk. Oh, okay, and he just started they were on a high like no one's business, and he was like, "We're gonna be able to do all these movies now. There's no way they're not gonna let us do all these movies," and then they went. They had it. They knew what they were trying to do.
What year did Disney acquire them? It was like maybe 2 years later or something.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, it was soon after. But once you get under the Disney umbrella, there.
Yeah, and it's wild to think that they were able to do all those movies. But then when it came to Star Wars, it was just like I don't know. It was like maybe it's this whole thing with it's Star Wars. We can't just keep pushing these things out. We have to like really take our time and make it good. And there's a lot of pressure when it comes to doing a Star Wars
which is
movie,
what I've said so many times. And have you thought about it, James? Have you thought about if you had to run Star Wars, how would your body function?
I would honestly, I would just make sure I hired a great writer, or if I wrote it, I would just plan everything just perfectly to where Palm Springs. See, I told you she knew. I knew she knew what I was talking about. Palm Springs. I forgot the name of that place, but anyways, that's where they all went after Iron Man. But yeah, I would plan it very well, but I don't think I would be stressed. I don't think I would be as stressed because one thing Ryan Johnson told me. Sorry, on the chat right now, it's pretty fun. One thing Ryan Johnson said on the making of The Last Jedi was he was a little intimidated until he got to the set, and then he looked over and said, "Oh, well, there's the sound guy, there's the grip, there's the camera operator, there's the DP, there's the makeup." And he goes, "Oh, this is just a regular movie. It's just a regular project. Don't think about the whole thing. Just think about the day and the shot that you're getting." Because in the end, you look around, it's the same 15 people who are always on set when you're making a commercial. And that's how he was able to like kind of calm himself and say, "Okay, it's fine." Right. That's how I would approach it. Just be like, just focus on the day and just get what you need, and then you're good.
So I think I'm going to say something on the podcast that I've never said before.
Oh,
maybe I have said it.
Oh boy.
Which is going to make me sound like a crazy person.
Please sound like a crazy person.
So back in 1997, 1998.
Okay.
I mean, the hype level was insane for episode 1.
Oh, yeah.
And the internet was essentially in its infancy.
Mm-hmm.
And I started thinking about, okay, I've waited my whole life essentially for new Star Wars films up to that point. And I started wondering and asking myself, which is going to sound insane, why are they going to make any more movies after this? Because I lived through the original trilogy on VHS. Nothing beat it. Nothing could touch it. I mean, I would say Peter Jackson's
The
Lord of the Rings trilogy came. I mean, maybe matched it, maybe came close, whatever. That happened, but it's not Star Wars. That's the only thing it has. The only thing it doesn't have that Star Wars has is the fact that it's Star Wars. So my sanity was in question in that time period. And of course I was an old teenager, so I was about to graduate from high school. But I was flipping out, and the hype levels, we've talked about that so many times. Oh, yeah. It was insane, man. It was just insane.
I've get on TikTok and Instagram Reels, and I'll run into like some of the old commercials for like the Phantom Menace, and it was insane. It was utterly insane.
Yeah, with the Colonel and the Taco Bell Chihuahua.
Everything was a toy. Every character in Star Wars was a toy, even if they weren't even in the movie that long. Like, it was insane. And now it's like, it's weird to think about now. They're like, oh, they would never make a toy of this person or this person. There's no reason to. Phantom Menace, gosh, it was the most hyped film probably in the history of mankind.
So I was in the theater and the trailer for Fight Club came on, and it showed it was going to come out after the Phantom Menace. I was like, what's the purpose of this?
Like, why would
they got to shut down the cinemas, man?
David Fincher has a funny joke because he says there's a scene of Brad Pitt in the trailer and he's wearing a tank top and it's just naked women all over the tank top. And he said nobody caught it. He goes the censorship board, nobody caught it. He says so the midnight showing of the Phantom Menace, all these nerds got to see naked women on Brad Pitt's shirt, and which is really funny. And again, that's a guy who needs to direct Star Wars because that would be absolutely.
Yeah, we're going on some crazy tangents here. But anyways, let's go on one more. No. Hold on, James. You brought up Brad Pitt.
I did bring up Brad Pitt.
So I was this close to meeting Brad Pitt in Austin, and I didn't go to the screening. Ted actually told me I was approved to go. I didn't get an email. The customary thing didn't happen, so I was like, well, I guess I'm not going. But yeah, and I joked around with Ted. I was like, Brad Pitt better be there. And of course he shows up.
He shows up, yeah.
And Robert Rodriguez is there too. Just as a spectator. He just called up the PR team and was like, hey, I'm coming to this. And they had a sign on one single chair that just said Robert Rodriguez.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That movie's gotta be cool, by the way. F1.
Yeah.
I heard something really cool about that movie. I know we're going off a tangent.
And it's Star Wars related, man, because Joe Kosinski directed Top Gun, and it's episode 4, essentially.
Yeah, which that ending is pretty much the trench run and Han Solo showing up to save the day. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of ridiculous how much it is like Star Wars. But anyways, what are we talking about?
Back to the Ray film on hold.
Back to the Ray film on hold. It is kind of weird how it like I said, it feels like Lucasfilm and Disney, they're just like Disney's just like super scared of ruining Star Wars to where they're kind of holding back Star Wars and in theaters. And it's so strange. It's so weird how scared they are to release these movies. But then they released Lilo and Stitch, which was met with mixed reviews, and I saw it. I personally did not like the remake. I went home and I watched the cartoon, and it was amazing. That movie made like $800 million at the box office. Like, so Disney is just going to keep pushing out these remakes over and over again. But when it comes to Star Wars, they're like, well, I mean, Solo didn't perform that well, and then the Rise of Skywalker wasn't met with good reviews, so we're just gonna wait. And it's so weird how scared they are to release these movies. And then plus we've talked about it before, productions on Rise of Skywalker, Force Awakens, and Rogue One and Solo were not that smooth. There were quite a few troubles with those productions. And again, Last Jedi for some odd reason was the only one that had no issues when they were filming. And it's like they're just scared. They're just terrified of these things. And so hence the first movie we're going to get is Mandalorian and Grogu. Why? Because they know Grogu is going to sell tickets. And then they go, oh, but do people like Rey still? And then they freak them out. I think they're just so scared to ruin something with Star Wars that they're holding things back from us. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, Mariana thinks, she says on YouTube, I think they're going to slow down on the remakes after Snow White and the new Pixar. Elio is out right now and has got minimal advertisement.
Yeah, I didn't even know there was a new Pixar movie out until I saw Lilo and Stitch, the trailer, and I was like, oh, Pixar. Remember back in the day, that was a big deal when there was a Pixar movie coming out, man. It was huge, and they delivered every single time. And now it's like, I don't know. Anyways, we'll see what happens. We're gonna, of course, we don't like to report rumors or anything, so we're doing our best to check out how this Rey story is panning out. And again, I applaud us, David and myself and Colin, for not jumping the gun with what the director of the Rey film had said in an interview back in 2015 that had nothing to do with
Star that was Wars. Completely taken out of context.
That was ridiculous.
It was about a whole nother like film.
She wasn't even involved. Like Force Awakens wasn't even out. You know what I mean? Like it was.
Yeah.
she shot the documentary a year before, so it's like.
Yeah.
Anyways, David and I and Colin and we were like, let's hold off. Let's see what's going on. We researcht it. It took what a day, 30 minutes for David and I to be like, oh, this is what it was. And then anyways. What was funny was after we released our episode, no joke, Forbes said the same thing the next day. And I was like, I wonder if someone from Forbes watched our podcast. Just saying. But yeah, we're gonna just keep an ear out for this film. I'm so looking forward to it because I want to see the next chapter in this journey. And unfortunately, it looks like the Starfighter film is going to be the one that's going to start. Maybe it's going to be a standalone movie, but I'm wondering if they're trying to figure out a way to have the Starfighter movie kind of go into this Rey film. So we'll see. We'll see how that all plays out. Yeah. And then Daisy Ridley has a new movie, right?
Yes, Daisy Ridley has a new movie out. You can watch it on Max or HBO Max or whatever they're calling it these days. It's called Cleaner. It's a movie starring Clive Owen. He's in the movie, and I haven't seen him in a long time. And I've asked myself out loud, why haven't I seen Clive Owen do anything? He's a great actor. But yeah, he's in it. I started watching it the other night in bed on my phone, and I got into it, but I was like really sleepy, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put my phone down and catch up with this later. Haven't caught up with it again, but it's interesting to see Daisy Ridley act in something outside of Star Wars. I haven't seen her act in anything outside of Star Wars.
Did you see The Young Woman in the Sea?
No, I just said I haven't seen her act in anything.
Dude, that is such a great movie. Like it is.
Why didn't they release that in theaters though?
They did. They just didn't promote it that well.
But they released it on streaming simultaneously though.
No, it was out in theaters. It was out in theaters.
But was it wide release?
Yeah. They just didn't promote it that well. And I didn't see it either in theaters, and it was on Disney Plus, and I watched it, and I remember I was like almost about to cry watching this movie, and I was like, oh my, and man, she's amazing. She is insanely talented. So she's good. She's gonna have a lot of more projects coming. She can carry a movie that's not Star Wars. I think this Young Woman in the Sea, and then this movie, The Cleaner, which is getting great reviews, by the way, is one of those that people are like, she can do this. She can be a name and carry this movie on her own. So that's awesome.
Yeah. It got a ton of views. If you go on the Max app right now, I think it's
the number one
front page. It's the number one right now.
Yeah, wow. It's the number one film on their movies.
Plus, and that's that weird thing that used to happen back in the day when there was something really good in theaters, nobody would see it, but then when it would go to DVD, it would be like the number one DVD.
Yeah,
like that happened with like The Family Guy and
Grandma's Boy. Nick Swartzen said his movie, like that movie, destroyed with rentals and movies, and that his
Idiocracy.
Movies, yeah,
I think I was working at Hastings at the time, and we had like 2 copies of it, and it was always checked out.
Oh,
and you would just kind of hear people talk about it, and yeah, that's what I thought.
Mike's in the house.
Thanks, Mike C.
Sorry, Mike. You're right. You know what? And I hate to say it. I live in LA, so I get to. So the trailers show and everything for me because they're all the movies do show here as opposed to everywhere else. But yeah, that was a really good movie, and I'm excited for and plus this movie, The Cleaner, is directed by Martin Campbell, who did Casino Royale and GoldenEye. So he's a pretty good director. Yeah. So we'll keep an ear out for this Rey film. We're gonna let y'all know, and when we hear definitive news about if it is in fact on hold on the release date, we'll let you know right away. And yeah,
Daisy Ridley's actually been working a lot. She's completed a lot of films. There's a zombie film I didn't get to watch. Ted and I were at
oh yeah, that's right,
South by Southwest. I think that was a festival. After I talked to her on the red carpet, we reconvened outside. I think if we wouldn't have done that, we would have been able to go in the theater, and the theater was packed. And it's an Australian zombie film, essentially. And I know the plot. Yeah. Interesting plot. I had to talk to her about it. But yeah, I can't say enough how awesome she was to talk to. I mean, all of a sudden she was just like right there in front of me. It was weird, but she was very nice to talk to. I mean, she felt very genuine. I think that's the proper word, because I mean, that was the read I got. I mean, you think Hollywood celebrities, you would feel something, you would be able to detect something. And I think I have a pretty good detector on when people don't want to be in a certain situation. She didn't seem like that at all. She answered all my questions and elaborated full answers. Yeah, it was great. So Colin Weaver says Max Rebo needs a movie ASAP.
What is Colin doing awake at this hour of the night?
If I were to tell you that Colin told somebody those words in that sentence to a person from Lucasfilm tonight, would you believe me?
I would.
Yeah,
but would our listeners believe us?
It happened, but we can't talk about what Colin's situation is right now. Or maybe we can. I don't know. If you go on his social media, you can see what he's doing. And I asked him, I was like, where are you right now? And he never answered me. But yeah, he told me some interesting things actually related to Star Wars Starfighter. I don't think he sent it to you though, James.
No, he did not. Why not?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if we can talk about it.
We're in a group chat. Why are you not sharing the Star Wars stuff with me?
I think it was in a public setting. Maybe we can't talk about it. I don't know. But I don't know. Colin's on here. Oh yeah, Colin said he was at DroidCon. Colin, can we talk about the whole droid situation for Starfighter? I don't know. Nope. He told me something. But yeah, Colin did meet the person that puppeteered R2, I believe, in the prequels. I think that's what he was telling me. And apparently he might have a recording. But
nice.
Yeah, I figured Colin would be in bed by now.
Let me message you later. So yeah, so I guess no, we're not gonna go in there.
Okay. Yeah.
But the next order of business, ANDOR soars. ANDOR, it feels like each week it's getting a little bit bigger, because it feels like word is getting out. Like it feels like a slow burn. It feels like people are telling their friends, "Hey, this is unlike any Star Wars you've ever seen. You don't even have to really watch Star Wars to really be into this show." And it feels like it's getting bigger and bigger. And driving down, Beverly Boulevard, driving through Hollywood, there are so many signs for ANDOR out right now. They're really pushing it, of course, for the Emmy and Golden Globe nominations. But it is insane how much ANDOR is just taking over the world still. And we're almost a month out from the whole season, and it feels like ANDOR is still very, very relevant.
Yeah, I mean, they're really keeping it relevant by doing interviews and panels and Paley Center events and Lucasfilm events and podcasting events and going on network TV with Colbert. I don't think anyone's been on Fallon to talk about it.
Fallon, I'm joking.
And this clip's gonna be played. Diego Luna went on Jimmy Kimmel.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, they're making the rounds like it's still an active thing. I had somebody that I contacted tell me, I don't know if he wants me to say that it came from him, but yeah, I can't say who it came from. Seems like Disney is doing like the big Emmy push, the big awards push. That's why all this is happening. And of course, they want people to watch and stream Disney Plus, but the stats show that ANDOR was the most streamed piece of content on streaming. It beat out the show called Bluey.
Oh, wow. You've made it.
Yeah, because that's kind of like the babysitter that people turn on for their kids.
Just so you know, kids were watching ANDOR instead of watching Bluey, all right? So when they were babysitting those kids, they put on ANDOR for them, and the kids were engrossed in this.
ANDOR is a raging success.
ANDOR is a massive success.
And not only that, people are watching Rogue One as well in record numbers. So that's interesting. And of course, there's hardcores out there that are doing Andor, Rogue One, then A New Hope. And people are saying it totally recontextualizes Rogue One and changes the way you see A New Hope as well.
It's weird. It doesn't make any sense. I did it. I did the season finale of the series finale of Andor right into Rogue One, and Rogue One just felt so different. And then right into A New Hope, and A New Hope feels so different now. And it's crazy. It's really weird that this project did that. The project that 10 years ago we had no idea what it was. It wasn't even, you know what I mean? It was just, oh, okay, yeah. Look at this. Andor has changed, literally changed Star Wars. And it's very weird. It was weird to watch and experience the dialogue, the story of Andor, knowing like this is Star Wars. Like this is a Star Wars I've never seen before. And it was great. And oh geez. Mariana says, dude, I still watch Blue. Oh my gosh. I don't think what is okay. What is Blue? I don't even know what Blue is.
It's like an animated, it's almost like in the same like style as like South Park.
All right, we're gonna just anyways. Hold on, Mike.
But it's a kid's show. I mean, it's a dog. He's blue and white, I believe.
Mike C. Thank you, David and James, for making my commute from home from work better just after 10 p.m. here in Cal. That's right, he's in California. He's here. So Mariana, myself, and Mike are all here in California. Awesome. I remember we sat next to Mike at the Rise of Skywalker panel. I remember. If you watch our video, you hear him screaming too. So yeah, it was great. It was
viewed video on YouTube.
And it was didn't he went to go get pizza with us, right? He went to go get deep dish pizza with us the day before. I can't remember. But anyways,
yeah, there's a bunch of people there.
But yeah, I remember I told my brother to watch Andor, and he binge watched it after it had all aired. And he was like, oh my, like he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe how great it was. And it's crazy to look at that and then wonder, is Lucasfilm trying to like maybe pivot and do stories like this?
Right. That's what I was about to bring up.
Yeah. Do you think Favreau and Filoni are like, well, I mean, okay, because it doesn't even, well, one, you can't compare the two. It's like comparing 2001 and Star Wars. Yeah, they're both science fiction, but they're two completely different types of science fiction. With Mando and Andor, it's Star Wars, but it's two different types of Star Wars, so you really can't compare them. But did Andor steal the thunder away from Mandalorian? Do you think Andor is making people look at Mandalorian like, why did we get this when we could have been getting stuff like this? You know what I mean? So
yeah, I'm gonna go in total Sith mode here. I'm gonna deal in absolutes.
Oh no. Okay.
Star Wars is a genre. You can't get away from that. You can do cartoons, you can do animation, you can do shorts, you could do anime, you could do a serious series on Disney Plus. You can do the Mandalorian on Disney Plus. You can do what else is out there, James? I mean, we haven't got a comedy, we haven't got a horror movie, which there is a rumor out there that there's a possible horror movie in the works at Lucasfilm. But that's the question. Did Andor, pun not intended, did Andor open doors? That's the question. Did it happen? Is that going to be the legacy of Andor? Is the fact that now we're going to get all types of different genres, because Star Wars is a genre.
Yeah.
Star Wars, I mean, you could do different genres inside of Star Wars. You could do anything. I mean, the universe is so deep and diverse and multicultural, and there's different types of sentient beings. There's droids. I mean, there's so much media out there to pull from. I mean, Star Wars. I mean, I think that's kind of why I do the podcast too, because it's like endless, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's gonna outlive us all, surely. I mean, if they handle it right. Which, I mean, they're still going to keep on making stuff, but I mean, the question is the stuff going to be as great as it can be? But I mean, you can do so many types of genres inside of Star Wars.
Maybe you're right. I think you are right that Andor showed Star Wars and showed Lucasfilm that yeah, we could do other. We don't have to stick to the same genre, which I feel Mandalorian is kind of the genre of, the original trilogy. It's that Western samurai feel, type of movie, and the way they shot it, the way the camera was, and the characters that keep coming in and out. It felt like Favreau, and he achieved it, which was he wanted it to be the next chapter after Return of the Jedi, and which is beautiful, which is great. But then you're like, but what if he had done it slightly different? Would it have still hit the same way? Like, would that have been still good to do? Whereas Andor said, okay, I'm not really tied to much. I'm tied to the ending. I'm tied to Rogue One, so I have to get to Rogue One, but I can kind of tell the story the way I want to tell it before we get to Rogue One. And I don't know, that mindset and that thinking just worked so well for how they were going to tell the story. And it makes, like I said, it makes you wonder, are they looking at the dailies of Mandalorian and Grogu now going, well, maybe we need to reshoot some of this. Maybe we need to pivot a few things. Is Filoni looking at Ahsoka season 2 going, well, maybe we can do some things like this? You know what I mean? It's just interesting to think of what Andor is going to do for Star Wars in the future.
I never thought we were going to get this many interviews and panels and everything that Tony Gilroy's doing. He's talking about a lot of information behind the scenes. And one thing he did say is he is aware of multiple projects at Lucasfilm, but he's like, I can't talk about them, but there's stuff in the works that is different from Andor. Now, is that kind of hinting at, okay, maybe there is something like a horror film being developed or something totally different from Andor? That's essentially what he said. So, and he doesn't strike me as one to just talk about stuff that doesn't really exist. Which, I mean, having him was truly like a breath of fresh air, but now he's leaving though. That's the problem. And James and I were laughing earlier because we read the Forbes article title that says Andor has set a rating record as sadly fans must move on.
Yep. We have to, it's done. Andor is complete. It's finished. And it's one of those things that I'm so glad I got to witness. I'm so glad I got to, the night before, so the show aired, I couldn't watch it the night before. I couldn't sleep that night because I had to wake up, and I did. I woke up like at 5 a.m. and I just said, I have to finish this show. It was too much. I couldn't get my mind off of it. And like I said, it's a character we didn't even know 10 years ago. And there's a great interview on Variety between actors with Javier Bardem and Diego Luna. And Javier Bardem is an incredible actor, one of the best. And he's talking to Diego Luna, and it was really interesting because Javier Bardem says, he goes, "You're a superhero." He goes, "You are huge now." He goes, "You're just big. You're just big. You're massive now. Look at this. You were a whole character in Star Wars." And Diego Luna is smiling like, yeah, it's just the way it is. But I like that high praise that Javier Bardem gave Diego Luna, like calling him a superhero and saying how great it was to see him and to see a Mexican actor just completely, own this character and own this whole series. And it was incredible. It was nothing short of amazing to watch. Oh, David's researching something over here.
Yeah, something popped up. What were we saying?
Exactly. Anyways, but yeah, Andor is just one of the best things I've ever seen. I've watched a few TV, like kind of the classics, Sopranos, Breaking Bad, Mad Men, all those other shows, but I rank Andor behind really close, even maybe ahead of Breaking Bad. Just a show that was flawless
Mm-hmm.
the whole way through, and those last like 6 episodes of Andor were just mind blowing, and so
Yeah.
it's an incredible thing.
Yep. The ratings prove that out, and I'm hearing a lot of people say that this is Andor season 2 is the best thing since The Empire Strikes Back,
Which
and
is
from
insane.
yeah. I mean, I can recognize that. Yeah, The Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, that's the greatest Star Wars movie of all time, and yeah, it's. But it never connected with me as much as A New Hope and Return of the Jedi did when I was a kid. So, and like I've always said on the podcast, I watched Empire to get to Return of the Jedi when I wanted to watch the trilogy as a kid. And of course, I experienced Star Wars for the first time as a kid, and Empire was more adult. It was, I mean, the ending was kind of odd. It was kind of left open. It was somewhat of it was cliffhangerish,
Just
but
like Andor, yeah.
But I didn't have to wait because I had the VHS of Return of the Jedi, so I just popped that in and watch it. So yeah, Colin told me something a long time ago, and I think it rings true more now than it ever has. And at the time, I was more on the side of not agreeing with him as much, but I don't know if it's like my life situation or what, but I think I do. Even though I mean, it's not so much on the surface. It feels like I might be doing Star Wars too, and like consuming Star Wars, talking about Star Wars, maybe to kind of escape reality in a way. And watching Andor, you don't escape reality that much. And maybe that's a factor of why I don't like overwhelmingly love it like everybody else. I mean, I could recognize the filmmaking and the cinematography and the story and the nuance that was executed, and we got that slew of episodes back to back to back, and the Gorman Massacre and all that was just edge of your seat stuff. But it's like I don't really need that per se. I guess for me personally, but I can recognize that it's great. I mean, it's great writing. It's some of the greatest stuff that Star Wars has ever seen.
For me, it's great because I know at the end of A New Hope, the Death Star explodes. Like when the Death Star explodes now in A New Hope, it's I was so happy. I was almost in tears because I could remember the journey of what Andor did and how everything that had to take place to get to that moment. Sorry, go on.
Tony Gilroy had one of the great responses to a very, very cliched question that you would figure he would get at the beginning of Andor. A reporter asked Tony Gilroy, how hard was it making Andor knowing that the audience knew that he was going to die? And he's like, his response was, we're all going to die. We all know we're going to die, but we still get up in the morning and do our laundry.
Jeez. That's a very
we all know the ending.
Oh my
we all know the ending of everyone's story.
That's actually pretty morbid, but great at the same time.
Very Tony Gilroy answer. But yeah, that is funny because that was one of the first things that popped up into my head when creating something like this, when the audience all knows the ultimate end of the main character. I mean, does that change the way you write anything? And he said, no, we're all gonna go. I mean, it's but even having this knowledge, we still get up and do our laundry, we pay our bills, we go to work. I mean,
that's pretty good.
Yeah. Smart guy, that Tony Gilroy.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's so sad that he's like, I'm done. I'm out. Bye. Adios. Have fun.
And he has said in multiple interviews that this is the greatest thing I'll ever do in my life.
Wow.
And he said that there's no way that I could do it again because the stamina, the endurance, the youthfulness it takes to do something like this, he's like, he essentially said, I'm going to be too old to be doing something like this again. And I get it. I mean, I'm getting older, and I can feel things more that
I didn't have all this
time, and
I didn't have all this gray hair in my beard when we first started this this podcast, back in 2018.
Yeah, and I'm hanging out with all these Star Wars kids, and I mean,
But
they're in their 20s and 30s. I mean,
yeah,
they're not really kids, but to me, yeah, they are.
You calling me a kid?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. But jeez. But yeah, outside the movies, and then I've even seen people say Andor is probably the best Star Wars like we've ever seen, and it's just great. I'm glad we got to experience that. So, and
yeah, it's one for the books. I've heard people say this is the greatest thing in Star Wars will ever experience in the entirety of our lives, and I'm like,
don't say that.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to the next amazing thing Star Wars is going to do.
Yeah, there's other hyperbolic things out there like this is the best thing that Star Wars will ever do. It cannot be surpassed. This is it. And I'm like,
calm down.
I don't even want to think about that, but I don't know. We shall see. The other thing I think we want to talk about here is there's a report out there on several websites that Lucasfilm does not want to focus on trilogies. They want to do and focus on more standalone films, which, of course, Starfighter is going to be a standalone film. Sean Levy has indicated as much, that it's outside of everything else we've seen, even though there's info out there that there's going to be maybe a familiar character. I've heard people joke around that Ryan Gosling is going to deliver a baby to Rey in the end or something to connect it all. But yeah, that's kind of odd to me.
It makes a little sense knowing that they cannot like just sit down these writers and say, write a whole story for us. It's impossible, it feels like, even for Marvel, to sit writers down and to write all this stuff, because we found out later Marvel writers were not even talking to each other when they were writing these movies. So it feels like with Disney, it feels like they're scared there, because what they're afraid of is they're gonna write a whole trilogy. First movie comes out, it tanks. They have to rewrite everything. They have to hire new people. They have to do all this. And so I'm thinking, their thinking is, okay, we'll do these standalone movies. If certain characters are a success, we can always just do a sequel of that story and just do it one at a time.
Possibly can.
Yeah. And I feel like that is their move. And what would be really interesting is if we do maybe Starfighter and a couple of other movies, and then in 2029, which is bizarre to say, they go, all right, here's episode 10. Like, we've had these movies in between and we've seen these characters, and then we've seen how the story goes. Here's episode 10. And then you start episode 10. And so I'm wondering if that's how they may do the whole Marvel thing. Mind you, Marvel is one story. It is, every movie does lead up to the next one, and every story does lead into the whole narrative. But I'm wondering if that's what they're going to try to do with Star Wars, because there is no way you can make just one standalone Star Wars movie without it having some type of gateway into another movie, to another project. There's no way. Solo, yeah, I get it. Solo did do that.
What had Solo in it? I mean, it had established characters, Chewie.
Yeah, and look, we got all those characters later on. I mean, mind you, we don't know what happens to Kira. We don't know what happens to Crimson Dawn. But still, all these movies, even though it's a standalone movie, has something that it could tie to. There's no way Starfighter is not going to tie to something. You know what I mean? Like, there's that. Yeah, that just seems impossible.
Yeah, the director Sean Levy constantly references it's after the Battle of Exegol, and so many people are like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about the Battle of Exegol." And It doesn't feel like the sequel trilogy has aged very well in the minds of fans. So maybe that's something that they're taking into account, and they're like, yeah, it's just easier to do a standalone. If it doesn't work, we just stop talking about it. And if it does work, we'll do a sequel. But that's how the original trilogy worked. If Star Wars, that little chunk in George Lucas's grand story, if it flopped, they weren't going to make another one.
Mm-hmm. I still think the sequel trilogy is going to get its love. I think it's going to get its second win, if you may.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen the last of it. I have a feeling that there's going to be a generation that absolutely loves it. I still enjoy it, and I'm actually going to go back and rewatch all the sequel trilogy again, because I feel like with a lot of memes, a lot of that's what I'm looking for, a lot of just other podcasters, not us, are how much they have just completely destroyed the sequel trilogy because it wasn't what they wanted. It wasn't the movies they thought they were going to get with the sequel trilogy. And you got to remember, same thing happened to the prequels back in 2000, 2002, 2005, and 1999. People were mad at the prequels because it wasn't the prequels they wanted. But now the prequels are such a huge part of Star Wars that people don't even consider it separate from the original trilogy. So it's a funny thing that happens with Star Wars. And again, it's the whole fact that the kids grow up. The younger kids who loved it when they were younger start to get older, and then they go, hey, these are the movies I grew up with. Like we talked about it the other day. Somebody who was 5 years old when they saw The Force Awakens is 15 this year. You know what I mean? Somebody, that's crazy to me. That's crazy that we're 10 years out from The Force Awakens when we first saw Rey, Finn, and Poe. So those kids are getting older now. So I have a feeling the sequel trilogy is gonna have that rebirth, if you may.
It feels like the chances are really high we're gonna get Daisy Ridley in some
we have to
future something or other where she's gonna be there with the yellow lightsaber, and maybe. I mean, it really got me excited when they said that she was gonna be 15 years older, from the sequel trilogy, and
which she might be when this movie comes out. Just saying that might actually happen. So
yeah.
It's. Sure. But I understand Lucasfilms and Disney's approach where they're like, let's just focus on one of these things. Let's just get one of these things out, have a possible idea for a sequel, maybe, but let's just focus on one movie at a time instead of saying we're doing 3 movies, which I think scares them again, because I don't think Disney has a great memory of the sequel trilogy productions. So
even though they made crazy box
they made so much, they made all their money back. They made all the money back they spent on the deal. Even the money I think they spent on the parks have already been paid back. So it's like,
yeah, they spent $4 billion on the franchise, and they got $2 billion of that from the box office for The Force Awakens.
Yeah, that was insane. By the way, 10 years, and hell, Disney's not even saying anything about the 10-year anniversary of The Force Awakens. Like, if they don't say anything this year, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm sorry, children are listening, but I'm gonna be so mad if Disney doesn't do anything for the 10-year anniversary of The Force Awakens. They have to. You hear that, Disney?
Yeah. James is leveling threats here.
Yeah. I don't know what the threat is, but I'm going to be really mad, though, if they don't. I'm just saying. So please, Disney, acknowledge the sequel trilogy. There was something at Celebration they showed, and I was sitting with Mariana and her husband, I believe, and she said to me, it was like, they didn't even show anybody from the sequel trilogy. Like they showed like some type of thing, and they were like, they didn't even mention anything from the sequel trilogy. And it was just like, you're right, they didn't. It's so, I hate that. I hate that so much, that Disney is trying to make people forget about the sequel trilogy when it's like, no, embrace it, show it. Let us remember it. Let us enjoy the full story. And what's so funny is the kids who grew up with the prequels are now the people saying the sequel trilogy isn't Star Wars. And that makes me laugh so hard, knowing that those kids are now the ones that are going like, oh, we don't even count 7, 8, and 9. That's not really Star Wars. And it was like, man, they were saying that to y'all when y'all were in love with the prequels back in the day. So it's Star Wars. That's what I always tell people. It's Star Wars. It's all the same thing. We can all love it. Don't gatekeep Star Wars. That's my thing.
Time will tell. It's gotta be. What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. I really want to know. I really want to know this word that you're thinking about.
Yeah, I want to see that when I'm 60, 70 years old.
Yeah. Who knows? Oh, yeah, maybe in another 10 years, the 20th anniversary, we're gonna be at Celebration. In 20 years, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be old, but it's gonna be like it's gonna be a huge reception, and we're gonna be sitting there going, "Yeah, see, look at that, look how great this is."
Yeah.
Geez, in 20 years, I'm gonna be 56 years old.
I'm gonna be 64.
When I'm 64, anyways.
Or
but
dead.
Yeah,
but
geez, come on, man. But yeah, we're just saying, Lucasfilm, please do something to honor the Force Awakens. I would gladly go watch it again in theaters.
It's surprising nothing in Japan, and I heard people talking about it on the floor. They're like, "There's no Force Awakens anniversary stuff."
Nothing. I would have bought that.
Just like there was no Sith panel.
What was that?
Just like there was no Sith panel.
Yeah. No Revenge of the Sith.
What happened?
Somebody dropped the ball. Just saying. Somebody did something wrong, because we should have gotten something about Revenge of the Sith, and we should have gotten something about. I would love to have seen the logo for the Force Awakens 10-year anniversary. Like, I hope they release that logo, at least. You know what I mean? Like, I hope they do another poster like they did for, the Revenge of the Sith. Like, come on. I don't know. I'm very passionate about this. I don't know if y'all can hear this. I'm very passionate about this.
Very passionate people about Star Wars.
Yeah. Anyways.
All right. Well, I think that's
on that note. That's great. That's
so, yeah,
amazing.
I want to actually personally thank everyone out there that listens to us and watches us on YouTube. We had like crazy good numbers on YouTube for the last podcast. I don't know what did it. I don't know if it was the picture we used of Mia Goth. I don't know. But
I think we should just put Mia Goth on all of our posts from now on. I think that'll be good.
Well, I think this picture is going to be Daisy Ridley, and it's a newer picture too. So I'm going to have her up. But yeah, thank you so much for all the views on YouTube and also on audio. You guys turned out in droves, and it's incredible that you guys listen to the show.
What are you laughing
about? Doesn't sound right, but
it is weird that you listen to us. Just saying,
it is weird. I don't know, James, because when I listen back, we sound pretty good. But also, everyone in chat. Oh, go ahead, James.
Nothing. Please keep going.
Everyone in chat, from Bender to Matt, who we met in Japan, to Ted out there, to Mariana, of course. She has some of the best Star Wars tattoos in the galaxy.
Oh yeah.
Also Colin, late at night, wherever he is in the Eastern.
Who doesn't have some of the best tattoos in the Star Wars?
Yeah, who knows? He might get one in San Diego.
Yeah, he might. Yeah,
he might get like a big like Superman crest.
Can you imagine that? And I'm gonna get a tattoo. I think this is the year I'm gonna get a tattoo. I think I'm doing it this year.
You're doing it. Forehead, cheek.
No, I think first I'm gonna get one for my mom, like I've said since she passed. And then,
strawberry.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna get a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Have you seen the tattoo of the guy that on his forearm he has the outline of the in between Star and Wars?
No,
just the middle piece. So when you look at it, you don't know what it is, but when you visualize the logo in there, it's a little bit of the outline of the S and the T.
I don't know if that's really smart or really dumb right now. I don't know. I'm a little torn between that.
And then there's the guy that has Mandalorian written across his forearm, And any way you look at it, it still says Mandalorian.
That's
one of those
disgusting.
pins. Yeah, it's really cool.
But
really expensive.
But then I'm nervous, like once I start getting because I've heard once you start getting tattoos, then you can't stop. So I'm like, am I gonna be on here?
Like these pins, James. I can't stop buying these pins. See, I got multiple boards behind me. If you look closely, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button.
My hallway over here.
Yeah,
I saw one that had it's a pin set.
You do have pins. You keep on saying you're not gonna buy them because you'll get addicted.
No, Funkos. I don't have Funkos. I'm not gonna do it. I swear, I'm not.
I thought you had like a piece of corkboard and you had pins in them.
I do. They're not here. They're over here. I mean, they're over there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But you keep on saying I'm not going to buy them because I'll get addicted. But
I'm not going to do it again because I did it once and it was bad. It got really bad. But I saw that there's a new pin set that is all 3 trilogies on it. It's like a set. It's like a set of 3 pins and it's all 3 trilogies. And I'm like, I need that in my life. So I might be going to Disney here soon to go find me those pins. Before we go, I want to give a very selfish announcement.
Oh, no, it's not selfish. I think I know what you're going to talk about.
It is very selfish. So back 100 years ago, in 2020, I shot a film, and with some friends, I acted in it. I was associate producer. I was also the assistant editor on it, and we finally were able to get this movie out and released, and it is on Amazon Prime. It's soon to be on other platforms, but right now we just have Amazon Prime. And it's called Beauty of a Blank Space. If you want to go rent it, please rent it. If you want to buy it, buy it. I would rather you just rent it just so you can see it. But I'm in it. I have a little role in the film, and just imagine me 5 years ago, and that's what I looked like. And David got to see the movie. He went to go and watch the film at the Austin Film Festival where it premiered, which was a really huge honor. It was something I'd always wanted to do. So I was really happy that a movie that I was in and a part of performed at the Austin Film Festival. So, Beauty of a Blank Space, go check it out. I'd really appreciate it. And so I just wanted to do that selfish announcement. So thank you.
And that's the movie where I always reference where I saw that James has a lot of talent as an actor and something he should pursue. Because, I've seen James on the big screen acting, and it's wild. It wasn't even James. It was some other dude. I mean, that's how good he was.
I'm blushing.
I was like, okay, let's see if James really can act. And then I was like, oh my God, I guess he can act. Okay. I was like, man, he should probably do this and quit podcasting. But
no, I don't want to quit this. But it was a whole ordeal. It was so much fun. And it's taken this long to get it fully completed and put out in the world. And that's what happens when you're an indie filmmaker and don't have any of those connections. You just gotta keep trying to find and meet people. So Beauty of a Blank Space. It's out on Amazon Prime. You have to rent it or buy it, and so that's it. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, I think I have the picture of.
No way.
Yeah, I hope it's the right picture. Yeah, so this is the cover.
Oh yeah,
it's all pixelated and everything, but
yeah.
And it's the best picture I can find on Google. But yeah, you can rent it so you can see James act in a film. And it's wild to see this guy because he's like a different person.
Now I regret putting that out there. Now people have to go. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if I want people to see me anymore, but all right. But
that's the whole purpose of being an actor, right?
Yeah, you're right. And shout out to my buddy Ryan Love. He was the writer and he was the co-writer and the director of the movie. And did a great job, and we're actually gearing up to do another project in the next coming months. So yeah.
And you're gonna act in it, right?
Yes, I'm gonna be an actor in that, which I have to start working out so I can slim down again. So yeah, It's a whole thing, and I'm not gonna shave my head for this movie. I shaved my head, so this I don't think I'm gonna do it for this one. So, but anyways, yes, I'll be acting in this one as well as being another associate producer on it as well. So.
All right, right on. Yeah, we're cheering for you, James.
Thank you so much.
Can't wait to watch it and advertise it on the podcast. So yeah, I guess that's a podcast, guys. Of course, you can find us on all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, Patreon, of course. We love your support.
Yes.
You'll get every podcast that we do ad-free. TikTok, check us out there. You can email us, starwarsstuffpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Facebook. We have a page and a group. And give us a great rating on Apple Podcasts if you can, and on Spotify as well. And like I said, thank you for everyone that's listened to the past couple weeks. The numbers have been fantastic, so I just want to thank everyone out there. And special thanks to Mike out there. He put that that chat that he listened to us on the commute, and that's. I love it when I hear stuff like that, because I pretty much do the same thing. Even to our own podcast, sometimes I want to re-listen to it.
It's like, these guys are good, man. They got some good points about Star Wars.
James guy?
Oh, jeez.
You can really.
And then it's funny. They'll hear my voice, and then they'll be like, "Oh, they have a picture of what I look like," and then they see us. They're gonna be like, "Oh, that's not at all what I pictured."
That's always happened to all the radio people I've always listened to, and some podcasters too.
You see it, and you're like, "Oh, that was not what I was expecting."
Yeah.
But anyways, again, thank y'all so much, and we'll be back again with another awesome topic. So yeah, I'm James,
and I'm David,
and may the force be with you always.
Thumbs up, James.
Oh yeah, thumbs. Should I do it? Okay, hold on. Oh, there it goes. Beautiful.
Everyone on audio is like, what are they doing? Watch this on YouTube.